Hi everybody. So not sure if we're on live yet, but it looks like we are. So hello and welcome to Draw With Me Kids, episode 34.
We are celebrating today, which is Remembrance Day.
That's right. Maybe at school you had some remembrance ceremonies. Maybe at home you guys did some talk about poppies and what today means. But today we thought we'd do something really simple and do poppies. I have a problem. I'm going to have to do it all with my mouse today because my thing is not lining up. How's that? Go figure! This is why I didn't want you to do digital.
Can I teach you how to make any type of flower?
Well, I think that's kind of the whole lesson, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oops.
This
So,
is how you make
let's see how you would draw a poppy. This is
how
Miss
I
Rainbow's.
draw a poppy.
Drawing a poppy. Oh.
Draw a line that kind of goes in the way you want your poppy or flower to go in.
Okay.
Next, on the bottom, do two kind of very curved eyes and make kind of like lines and make kind of like an eye shape. Like not the letter Y, the letter I, but like it kind of like an eye without the dot in the middle.
Kind of like this.
Yeah.
This is not going to go well for me if I can't. How about you? We're going to focus just on you right now.
Next, draw
So
a line straight through the shape that you made. And on the tip of your line, draw a circle. This is where you can customize your flower instead of drawing a circle and make it whatever flower you like. But now, draw some big bumps around the circle and erase any indenting lines.
Oh, this is...
And then we have this shape. Draw 3 lines in each bit to give it the kind of effect that it's like a poppy, like this. And next,
This is my weird...
draw a few little V shapes with the line in the middle around it as grass around it. If you wanted to, then you can make a little cross if you want to put it in front
Oh,
of
up
the
here,
little
yeah.
bit.
I'm doing your Remembrance Day stuff.
To make a giant lowercase t. You can put a name on it.
That's what I've done for mine. I'm having a bit of problems with my tablet at the moment, which is fine. So that's how you draw your poppy.
If you
It's a
wanted
really
to
nice
draw
poppy.
a different flower, you do the same thing with the leaf and everything,
Yeah.
but you add a different top instead of the poppy top on it.
Okay. Well, for whatever reason, I'm having an issue with my tablet, so I apologize to everyone. It's going to look a little bit weird. There we go. And I'm trying to get my, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to try and draw this with just a mouse because I'm going to go old school here because my tablet is a little bit broken. It's sort of up there instead of where it should be. So what we're going to do today to start with Poppy that I'm going to teach you how to do is start with a circle. Actually, it's going to be a very big Poppy if I do it that way. And you can fill that circle in if you really want to. Because Poppy's in the center. Well, except mine. Take a look at mine. Mine is green. It's an old school one. It's one that I've had for a couple of years that I put with a picture of what my grandmother used to have. And then what I do on top of that is I make another circle, just a light one. Yeah.
Here's a trick for
Well, this is not going to be very light because of my mouse. I can't have any sensitivity. I might just have to take this all and go traditional with you. Sit next to you and draw next to you because whatever reason, the moment I started up our broadcast, it's gone weird. So I try and draw a circle, and then I draw an X to try and get the symmetry, which of course is not going to work now that I'm sort of the way that I have to draw right now, guys. It's kind of funny. Is I have to I either have to use the mouse or I have to draw about this far away from where I want to make the target. So once you have your circle, draw a semicircle along. You can use the circle as a guideline. It's a good thing this is a short one. Why is it this? Why is my opacity changed? Why is everything crashing on me today? So I sort of use the circle to keep me symmetrical. Which is important right at the moment because I am kind of drawing in a way that I don't normally draw. It's like me trying to draw left-handed.
She's actually a lot better now because she can do it with two hands.
Yeah, it's true. I can draw pretty well with both hands. And so then I erase all of that circle or those guidelines because I'm happy with how the symmetry, well, right at the moment I'm not that happy with my symmetry. But I'm being kind and following my rules and being as happy as I can with the symmetry of this. Oops. Which is funny because just before we started, I was working on it just fine, and then the moment we started, boom. Oh well. So there's your Poppy, and then I add into this Poppy 2 little lines of black out like that. And if you want to, with your Poppy, because if you've got one of Poppies around, you can see there's sort of maybe a flatter edge to the top. If you want to do one that's like the ones that we wear for Remembrance Day. I like to do 2 lines like that, or you can get creative and sort of draw it more like a little heart shape if you want to. I'm going to leave it like that for now because of my thing. And then you can draw a stem just like Sophia drew, which is 2 parallel lines that go down to the ground. And the cool thing about poppies is that they have sort of jaggedy looking leaves. So you sort of draw your leaf shape like Sophia showed you, and then I add like 1 or 2 little triangles to the edge and to sort of connect them a bit to give them that sort of jaggedy edge. Well, this is my mouse drawn poppy, so I'm gonna have to.
It looks beautiful.
Well, thank you. This has been a bit of a challenge to try and draw it with the mouse, and hopefully everything. How would you angle the petals if the flower was in the wind? Very good question. I would do that a couple of ways. In fact, let me just bring up a picture I've already drawn, which you guys might have seen on my Facebook page. And then I can try and show you with my mouse because it's a little hard. But I will try and show you. I would try and draw the petals. If I were trying to do this more realistically, I would draw them a little bit more like this. It is a little bit more of a bumpy edge to them, and the stamens in a poppy, certain types of poppies have little pointy stamens. So if you're blowing it in the wind, you might do it on the side. So you'd only see maybe 2, maybe 1.5 of the petals. So you maybe want to change perspective on it, where you take your shape and do half a circle, or like a fan, and then split it in the middle there if you want to do something like that. So it would sort of can distort it a little bit, still have that half a circle look to it. Draw a half circle almost exactly, and then you can bend it or shape it a little bit to give that bend in the wind. And then when you want to do the stem, you can put a little bit of a leaf, because on the underside of the poppy you would see where it would attach, there's sort of a leaf tendrils that come around the flower, and then sort of bow the stem a little bit like that. And like I did for some of these guys, I've done different angles of what you might see on the inside of the flower. Some of them are more open, like this guy's open, but some of them are closed and you don't see the inside, and some of them are just open a little bit more. So it's just about taking that circle from the front and deciding, is it open full face? So you can then take your cross full face like we've drawn on this one and start drawing your petals. Poppies typically have 4 to 5 petals, or you can draw it from the side. And for my older artists, like you, Em, who are sort of have a really good base on 3 dimensions, or viewing, and Sophia have different base in 3 dimensions, you can start thinking about the inside of the flower as the circle, and how when you take an object that is like a cylinder and turn it in perspective, how it turns more like an ellipses, and how you would see it from different angles. So if the wind's blowing it, maybe you have it open like a cup like that, and then you'd sort of use that as your drawing board and start drawing the 4 petals around it. And then you might see some of the black on the inside. And always remember, if you are showing some of the side of the flower, you're probably going to see some of where the stem attaches. So that's why I've got this little triangle right there and the stem coming down. Sorry, it's really jaggy and weird looking today. But this is how I started learning how to do digital, was using, I don't want to show the red and hurt everybody's eyes, but using my little mouse. So did you do one from the side? Oh, you're doing a spirit.
Poppy cross.
A poppy cross. Very cool. So that is really our simple 15 minutes things. But you know what? We're not going to leave you hanging on that. I'm going to continue coloring my poppies in as best as I can with my tools right at the moment. And I'm going to ask you guys some particular questions. Like, why is the number 11 so important during Remembrance Day?
I don't know the answer, but I think I know something. Because my answer is because remember the day of November where the war ended was the 11th month, on the 11th day, on the 11th hour.
So
It was exactly when the First World
Miss
War.
Rainbows says that it happened, that the end of the war happened on the 11th day of the 11th month of the 11th hour, and that's why those numbers are so important to us in Remembrance Day. You're right, Miss Rainbows. It's true. Yeah, it had that the First World War, or what was called the Great War, but then we had a second one. In 1918 ended on the 11th of November, and the Armistice Treaty was signed on 11 a.m. to end the war. Good job. What was the first year? You're looking over my shoulder. What was the first
I
year
didn't see the answer though.
that poppies were worn in Canada? Was it 1919, the year after the war, 1921, or 1934? And you know what I'm going to do, because
I'm gonna say
I want you guys to...
I'm gonna say 1921.
1921. Do we have any other guesses out there? Are you coloring your poppies in now?
I'm adding background pictures.
You're adding background pictures. I'm going to color my poppies. In fact, what I might do is go over and color my coloring page too. And I've had a few people send in their coloring pages, and I'm going to put those up after our broadcast today of the poppies that I put up earlier in the week. A poppy coloring sheet that I put up earlier in the week. Thanks to my patrons over at Patreon. I was able to give that out free in advance, so thanks, guys. I think I showed you guys that coloring page last week too, or 2 weeks ago now.
Last stream week.
Last stream. Well, my little Cintiq, you are in the doghouse now, that's for sure. What happened? I bet you it has nothing to do with the Cintiq. It has everything to do with the combination of my broadcast software and my Cintiq. All right. I'll go back and color in my poppies.
So was I right?
Were you right for 1921? I don't think anybody else has guessed. So, yeah, you're right. 1921.
And like 1919 sounds really too early, and 1934 sounds a little too late.
Well, and guess what? It was very controversial in 1921 because a lot of people were using the poppy as a symbol to sort of force everybody to pay heed and pay remembrance instead of sort of doing something voluntarily and freely, which is sad. I have seen this done in my sunset, or sunrise rather. I've seen somebody do one nighttime. Can't wait to see what other people do. I'm going to do this one.
I haven't colored one yet, and I asked if I could.
Yeah, I know. I printed it off for you somewhere.
Mm.
And can I find it? Nope. I'll have to print it off for you again.
Can I color it after the stream?
Yes, you can. Well, after you've done your homework.
I did some of it before.
You did some of it before.
I reread the whole thing.
Do you guys have conversations like that with your mom and dad where you're like, yeah, I'm done? I know. All right. So John McCrae, you guys are probably familiar with that name, wrote a poem in 1915 to honor a friend of his that was being buried during the First World War. He wrote it in 20 minutes, believe it or not. He was so inspired to write it in honor of his friend. Is Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae Canadian, American, or British? Or was he Canadian, American, or British?
I'm gonna say British.
Say British? Do we have any other guesses? Oh, yeah, that's going to be not good.
But I have a trick if I need to, like I don't have a very good eraser.
M says Canadian, I think. You do have a trick if you don't have a very good eraser?
If I don't have a very good eraser, I can try and erase lines over top, then trace the lines I want to be.
There we go. Now I'm all set up so I can color this. Canadian, you think. You say British, and M says Canadian. Guess what? Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae was a Canadian doctor. It's Canadian. Pretty cool, eh? It's a poem that we all have probably heard, and maybe even ourselves recited. I remember having to recite it in a Remembrance Day ceremony at school one year. I'm going to do...
I feel like it would have helped me.
What would have helped you?
Get that question right.
Yeah.
If you said something else really specific first, that would trigger a few Remembrance Days ago. Because the junior choir recited that poem once at a Remembrance Day assembly. And they actually said that he was Canadian. So I feel like really what I needed though that would help me get that right is if you said Mommy that it was like it that I heard it in a Remembrance Day ceremony. That would have really helped me.
I see. So that would have helped out. So yes, no, was Canadian. So, in what year did Remembrance Day officially become a holiday and officially become Remembrance Day? Was it in 1921 when we got the poppies, in 1931, or in 1946?
1946, I'm going to say.
Okay. I have lots of trivia today. And I will say trivia is all courtesy of CBC Kids and Veterans Affairs Canada, who have some really cool informative tidbits of information about Remembrance Day and poppies on their websites. I did them today because you have school now and you get busy. So I did trivia today. So you said 1946. So you said after the first or after the Second World War, which would I got a beep.
It appeared on the Cintiq.
It appeared on the Cintiq. Everybody got to see somebody's achievement pop in the Cintiq. That's pretty funny. So we have two 1946s as guesses. Well, it officially became a holiday in 1931. It was changed from Armistice Day, which was what the agreement was that was signed between Germany and the rest of the Allies. Canada, Britain, well, I guess Britain as the Commonwealth, and the United States. And it became an official holiday here in Canada. What is the dollar figure of dollars raised by the Legion during the Poppy campaign? Typically, maybe not so much this year, do you think? Hello! Welcome! I'm coloring in my coloring sheet. We've already done our poppy part, which is what we started here. I'm having technical difficulties, so these are my poppies. So what is the amount that the Poppy campaign typically makes in a year to help support events, activities, veterans? Maybe I should give you guys dollar figures. Is it more than 5 million? Is it more than 10 million? Or is it more than 15 million?
I feel like they're going to raise a lot, so I'm going to say more than 15 million.
I have this, if anybody wants to download this and color with me, you're more than welcome. This is available on the Facebook page for free. And I'm just coloring in the poppies right now. Because my Cintiq's a little bit weird today. My drawing tablet's a little weird today. So is it more than, well, I guess technically all answers would be right. If it were what you say it is. It's actually 14 million. So more than 10 million is right.
Oh.
Ding, 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 ding.
I don't know why they don't raise more.
That's a really good question, Miss Rainbows. That's why they don't raise more. And there's some controversy behind that a bit too, because of we often think of veterans, and hopefully you, especially Miss Rainbows and your classmates and your age group, as just meant people who fought in some of the older wars. But we do have veterans that have gone to Afghanistan, for example, who have gone to a little further back, like my father, like your grandpa, who was a peacekeeper on a peacekeeper mission in Cyprus in the 70s. So there's definitely different places across the world, and here at home that service members, Canadian Forces members, have participated in events and helped keep us safe from disasters and problems here at home, like flooding and forest fires, snowstorms, and more recently we've lost a member of the Snowbirds as they were trying to entertain during COVID. To try and keep spirits up, there was an accident. So veterans are definitely not, like, I remember thinking veterans were all of the wonderful ladies and gentlemen that would show up at the events who were much older and more like my grandfather's age, and he would have been a veteran too. He was a veteran, I should say. The Second World War. But there's a lot of veterans more recent who are like people's mummies and daddies. And we got to make sure we remember them too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not an easy job. Going to all the different places, eh? So, in relation to the last question, this is the last trivia question, I swear. How many poppies are distributed across Canada annually to individuals? Like Miss Rainbows and I have our poppies on today. How many poppies are normally go out? I know, not going to be the same this year because of COVID, but is it 5 million?
No,
15 million? Or 20 million? Give or take a few million. Seriously. Somebody got an achievement. I don't know why they're popping up on my screen up here, but there you go. I'm not playing games while I'm coloring, people. That's true. So how many do you think, Miss Rainbows?
I don't know why, but I feel like a little bit less, like a few million less than 20 million. So don't feel like that'd be as much.
Okay.
Poppies, but I still feel somewhere close to it.
Okay.
And I feel like maybe removing a few million.
Or is this because you're looking behind me?
What?
I'm joking. The answer is, yeah, E says 10 million. J says 10 million. You guys, it's pretty good. It is actually 18 million poppies are distributed across Canada annually. And that doesn't include poppies that are put onto wreaths, flowers, and cross displays. So that's a lot of poppies. I think that's really cool because that, to me, tells me that people are remembering and people are...
I'm making soldiers.
Well, see, that's cool. You make soldiers. I think that's cool. This is part of what we're talking about today, too. I think it's really neat that if we have that many poppies that are going out to people across Canada, that we are remembering and taking a moment to think about the cost of war and think about all of the things that have happened, the history, far back history, more current history. So I'm just sort of redoing the poppy there so people can see. If you've come in late to see how to do a poppy, that's how we can do a poppy. So show off your really awesome picture here.
This is my picture that I made. And this is the other side.
Cool. You can color that in. And so we have some people are doing some really cool pictures of soldiers, which is good. That's okay. You can always rewatch the video and you get to laugh at me a little bit because I can laugh at myself about my tools not working properly. However you remember today, I hope that you've had a moment to remember and thank members of, maybe you have members in your family or, people on your street. Thank them for their service and remember that maybe some of them are feeling a little sad today because they're remembering friends they lost in peacekeeping missions or conflicts or even in exercises here at home. And you can spare a thought for them today too. So thanks for joining us again this week. And if you missed any of it, you can always watch the replay. It'll be up in a few minutes. And we're going to come back next week with chameleons at 4 o'clock. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Take a moment to remember.
Yes, indeed. So thank you very much. And thank you to anyone who serves the country and the Canadian Forces. We appreciate what you do. And we're with you thinking about anyone, friends and family members that you've lost. We're with you today thinking about them too. See you next week.
Bye, everybody. Happy Remembrance Day.